Huh. So House Yvonne is actually just a branch of House Blythed?
Yes, though really, if you trace any noble bloodline back far enough, you will find most of them are related in one way or another. For example, Duke Yvonne possesses the crest of Karen, while her grandfather possessed the minor crest of Fraldarius. Yet another of her ancestors bore the crest of Blythed, which is passed down through the royal bloodline.
So, you just gotta have a crest to inherit the family title, huh? Doesn't matter which one it is?
In general, yes. The nobility used to be more particular about their requirements, but that is in the past now. Since the houses all keep intermingling, none of them really have a pure bloodline anymore. Meaning they don't get to be picky about which crests they get. Though in truth, the main reason why crests are so valued is because they allow their bearers to wield the hero's relics, passed down through generations. In other words, one who possesses a crest compatible with the family's relic is much more likely to inherit the family title.
Huh. Speaking of, you're the heir to House Galatea, but your crest comes from another family, right?
Yes, but my house is a little different from the others. We originally split off from House Daphne in Leicester, you see. And at times in our history, crest bearers have been passed over entirely for the inheritance.
Can't you just pick a rule and stick to it? Why do you nobles always have to make stuff so complicated?
Complicated or not, this is important knowledge if you are going to keep serving His Majesty. If you stay ignorant, the soldiers you command will lose respect for you, and His Majesty's reputation will be irreparably damaged.
Sorry, you're right. I shouldn't be complaining after I asked you to teach me. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, right. You're the legitimate heir, and you have a crest, which means you're gonna inherit the family title someday. But what about all that talk of becoming a knight? Can you even do that if you're leading your house?
No. I have dreamt of obtaining knighthood and defending the king ever since I was a little girl. But I'm afraid it's not meant to be.
And none of your siblings have crests, do they? Isn't there anyone who can take the title for you?
My eldest brother says he is willing to do so if necessary. After all, the decision comes down to what the family and the heir want. Usually, leadership passes to a child with a crest. There have been exceptions, as I mentioned before. Even so, it is the duty of every kingdom noble to take up their relic in defense of their people. Not to mention, my father is not the only one who wants to see me in charge of the house. The citizens of Galatea are hoping for the same.
Huh. I'm not sure I really get all the politics behind it, since I wasn't born in the kingdom. But wouldn't you still be able to protect the king, even if you ended up a count?
I am not sure I follow.
Sorry, I can explain some other time. There's a story about a mercenary I'd love to tell you. Hey Ingrid, glad I tracked you down. Have you ever heard of Tobias's mercenaries?
What an odd question. Tobias, The name does sound familiar somehow.
Huh, I thought everybody knew about them. Captain Burling must have exaggerated that part. Anyway, they were a big mercenary group my old captain used to be in when she was a kid. Apparently their leader, Tobias, was so loyal to one of the local lords that he was practically an honorary advisor.
Strange. I thought mercenaries kept interactions with their employers strictly business.
Most do, but not only did these mercs fight for this lord, they pitched in building the castle town too. They even went so far as to trade their swords and bows for hoes and pitchforks and tilled the barren land for the farmers of the region. And they opened up shops in town when the Lord was going through some financial troubles.
It sounds like they went far beyond what is expected of most mercenaries. Unless, is that something you all do?
Oh, not at all. We're fighters through and through. Nobody in their right mind would ask us to drop everything to become farmers or merchants. Basically, both the mercenaries and the Lord were doing stuff way different from how they normally do.
Yes, of course. A bunch of sellswords planting seeds and tending a shop is certainly unheard of.
In the end, the captain grew so close to the noble of the region that people started calling him the Lord's right-hand man. I guess my point is, it doesn't matter what you are, mercenary, knight, noble, you aren't tied to any one role just because of the title you hold. Even battle-hardened mercs can end up as farmhands if that's what the client calls for. And if that's possible, surely a noble can do anything they want too.
True enough. That ties into our conversation from before as well. Thank you. I will give the matter some thought.
Good. I know it won't be easy to find the answer, but I'm here to bounce ideas off if you ever need it. And no matter what, I'm just glad my old captain's story actually helped you. All this stuff about Tobias and his mercenaries really caught me off guard the first time I heard it.
You were right about that. But, I cannot shake the feeling that this Tobias person is familiar somehow. Wait! I remember now. I believe the noble in your story may have actually been my grandmother.
Really? The last head of House Galatea?
Yes. I don't remember very well since I was still so young, but I recall she had a friend by the name Tobias. Though I find it difficult to believe the old man I knew was once a strapping mercenary captain.
If it really was him, he must have climbed the ranks even further than I realized. I mean, not just anyone can meet a noble's family like that. Who would have thought this old story would hit so close to home?
Certainly not me.
Hey, Ingrid. Not too often I see you wandering in town like this.
Oh, I, was just out for a walk. What about you? Are you here to do some shopping?
Yeah, they do ask me to pick up some ingredients for dinner.
Well, if it is food shopping you're after, then your best bet would be the boulevard past the river.
What are you so flustered for? You're not hiding something, are you?
What, me? No, not at all. It's nothing really. I'm just surprised how much you can find here.
It's a far cry from the struggling little towns dotting the rest of the kingdom, that's for sure.
Yes, Galatea is one of the regions that's found itself facing particularly hard times lately. A beautiful town like this, filled with happy people, hardly feels like it's part of the same kingdom as the blighted, barren lands I call home. The street lined end to end with blacksmiths is an especially magnificent sight. Not to mention all the wonderful smells wafting from the food stalls. Sorry, I lost myself for a moment there. In any case, it's great to see just how prosperous this town has become.
Don't worry, I get where you're coming from. Seems like there's barely any crime here either.
I suppose I have much to learn from this town, as the future Count Galatea.
Hey, speaking of, have you figured out what you want to do yet?
Not at the moment, no. In fact, part of the reason I came into town today was to do some further searching. It's my dream in life to stand as a knight by His Majesty's side, just as my late fiancé once did. And even if I do not become a knight like he was, there must be a way I can protect His Majesty in a similar fashion. Perhaps I could teach the people of my house the ways of farming and travel the kingdom cultivating land for those who need it most.
That's an idea. Definitely an unusual job for a count, but it'll be welcome for sure. And if you managed to help the kingdom prosper while you did it, people would grow more and more satisfied with the royal family's rule. That's certainly one way to protect the king. If that's the path you choose for yourself, I'll do whatever I can to support you. That's what friends do, after all.
In that case, what would you think of cooperating with me once I inherit my family's title? Just as Tobias did for my grandmother.
Don't tell me. You'd ask me to fetch you meat skewers every day to save you the trip into town?
What? I would never.
It was just a joke, don't worry. But I seriously do want to help. I believe in you, Ingrid.
Huh. So House Yvonne is actually just a branch of House Blythed?
Yes, though really if you trace any noble bloodline back far enough, you will find most of them are related in one way or another. For example, Duke Yvonne possesses the crest of Karen, while her grandfather possessed the minor crest of Fraldarius. Yet another of her ancestors bore the crest of Blythed, which is passed down through the royal bloodline.
So you just gotta have a crest to inherit the family title, huh? Doesn't matter which one it is?
In general, yes. The nobility used to be more particular about their requirements, but that is in the past now. Since the houses all keep intermingling, none of them really have a pure bloodline anymore. Meaning they don't get to be picky about which crests they get. Though in truth, the main reason why crests are so valued is because they allow their bearers to wield the hero's relics, passed down through generations. In other words, one who possesses a crest compatible with the family's relic is much more likely to inherit the family title.
Huh. Speaking of, you're the heir to House Galatea, but your crest comes from another family, right?
Yes, but my house is a little different from the others. We originally split off from House Daphne in Leicester, you see. And at times in our history, crest bearers have been passed over entirely for the inheritance.
Ugh, can't you just pick a rule and stick to it? Why do you nobles always have to make stuff so complicated?
Complicated or not, this is important knowledge if you are going to keep serving His Majesty. If you stay ignorant, the soldiers you command will lose respect for you, and His Majesty's reputation will be irreparably damaged.
I can't help it. I'm just a plain old mercenary.
Maybe so, but you have been installed in a position of great responsibility. That excuse won't work here.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, right. You're the legitimate heir and you have a crest, which means you're gonna inherit the family title someday. But what about all that talk of becoming a knight? Can you even do that if you're leading your house?
No. I have dreamt of obtaining knighthood and defending the king ever since I was a little girl. But I'm afraid it's not meant to be.
And none of your siblings have crests, do they? Isn't there anyone who can take the title for you?
My eldest brother says he is willing to do so if necessary. After all, the decision comes down to what the family and the heir want. Usually, leadership passes to a child with a crest. There have been exceptions, as I mentioned before. Even so, It is the duty of every kingdom noble to take up their relic in defense of their people. Not to mention, my father is not the only one who wants to see me in charge of the house. The citizens of Galatea are hoping for the same.
Huh. I'm not sure I really get all the politics behind it, since I wasn't born in the kingdom. But wouldn't you still be able to protect the king, even if you ended up a count?
I am not sure I follow.
Sorry, I can explain some other time. There's a story about a mercenary I'd love to tell you. Hey, Ingrid. Glad I tracked you down. Have you ever heard of Tobias's mercenaries?
What an odd question. Tobias, The name does sound familiar somehow.
Huh. I thought everybody knew about them. Captain Burling must have exaggerated that part. Anyway, they were a big mercenary group my old captain used to be in when she was a kid. Apparently their leader, Tobias, was so loyal to one of the local lords that he was practically an honorary advisor.
Strange. I thought mercenaries kept interactions with their employers strictly business.
Most do. But not only did these mercs fight for this lord, they pitched in building the castle town, too. They even went so far as to trade their swords and bows for hoes and pitchforks, and tilled the barren land for the farmers of the region. And they opened up shops in town when the lord was going through some financial troubles.
It sounds like they went far beyond what is expected of most mercenaries. Unless... is that something you all do?
Oh, not at all. We're fighters through and through. Nobody in their right mind would ask us to drop everything to become farmers or merchants. Basically, both the mercenaries and the lord were doing stuff way different from how they normally do.
Yes, of course. A bunch of sellswords planting seeds and tending a shop is certainly unheard of.
In the end, this captain grew so close to the noble of the region that people started calling him the Lord's right-hand man. I guess my point is, it doesn't matter what you are. Mercenary, knight, noble, you aren't tied to any one role just because of the title you hold. Even battle-hardened mercs can end up as farmhands if that's what the client calls for. And if that's possible, surely a noble can do anything they want too.
True enough. That ties into our conversation from before as well. Thank you. I will give the matter some thought.
Good. Can't wait to see what you come up with. And no matter what, I'm just glad my old captain's story actually helped you. All this stuff about Tobias and his mercenaries really caught me off guard the first time I heard it.
You were right about that. But, I cannot shake the feeling that this Tobias person is familiar somehow. Wait! I remember now. I believe the noble in your story may have actually been my grandmother.
Really? The last head of House Galatea?
Yes. I don't remember very well since I was still so young, but I recall she had a friend by the name Tobias. Though I find it difficult to believe the old man I knew was once a strapping mercenary captain.
If it really was him, he must have climbed the ranks even further than I realized. I mean, not just anyone can meet a noble's family like that. Who would have thought this old story would hit so close to home?
Certainly not me.
Hey, Ingrid. Not too often I see you wandering in town like this.
Oh, I was just out for a walk. What about you? Are you here to do some shopping?
Yeah, Dedu asked me to pick up some ingredients for dinner.
Well, if it is food shopping you're after, then your best bet would be the boulevard past the river.
What are you so flustered for? You're not hiding something, are you?
What, me? No, not at all. It's nothing really. I'm just surprised how much you can find here.
It's a far cry from the struggling little towns dotting the rest of the kingdom, that's for sure.
Yes, Galatea is one of the regions that's found itself facing particularly hard times lately. A beautiful town like this, filled with happy people, hardly feels like it's part of the same kingdom as the blighted, barren lands I call home. The street lined end to end with blacksmiths is an especially magnificent sight. Not to mention all the wonderful smells wafting from the food stalls. Sorry, I lost myself for a moment there. In any case, it's great to see just how prosperous this town has become.
Hey, you want to go take a peek at some of those stalls with me? We can grab a bite and keep walking if you want. I saw some mouth-watering meat skewers when I passed by earlier, and this time of year's got the best fruit and fish.
Truly? I'd love to try some. Though it would not be proper for me to be engaging in such revelry as the future Count Galatea.
Hey, speaking of, have you figured out what you want to do yet?
Not at the moment, no. In fact, part of the reason I came into town today was to do some further searching. It's my dream in life to stand as a knight by His Majesty's side, just as my late fiancé once did. And even if I do not become a knight like he was, there must be a way I can protect His Majesty in a similar fashion. Perhaps I could teach the people of my house the ways of farming and travel the kingdom cultivating land for those who need it most.
That's an idea. Definitely an unusual job for a count, but it'll be welcome for sure. And if you managed to help the kingdom prosper while you did it, people would grow more and more satisfied with the royal family's rule. That's certainly one way to protect the king. If that's how it's gonna be, maybe I could pitch in once you finally take the title of Count Galatea. I could be your personal mercenary, just like Tobias was for your grandma.
You do realize how much work that would be, don't you? My grandmother gave those mercenaries every task under the sun, and then some.
I can handle anything you throw at me, no problem. Even if you asked me to fetch you meat skewers every day to save you a trip into town.
What? I would never. Still, thank you for the offer. I will hold you to it. Your Majesty, about tomorrow's drills. Apologies, I did not mean to interrupt.
It's fine, Ingrid. We had just finished.
That was the leader of the Dusker forces, yes? What were you talking about?
We were discussing various tactics and formations. We must be aligned if we're to fight together. The way Dusker soldiers operate is quite different from our knights. I must also be mindful of how I deploy them to avoid undue conflict.
Yes, I hear there have already been a number of small quarrels in the encampment.
It's not a problem easily solved. I'm sure each side finds it difficult to adjust to the other. And you, Ingrid. Do you still hate the people of Dusker?
I no longer have reason to hold on to that hate. Yes, a few of them were involved in the tragedy, but I cannot blame the rest for that. There were many other forces at work. I understand that now. Yet I used to focus all my negative feelings on the people of Dusker, and for that I am ashamed. In a way, I now find myself scared of interacting with them at all.
You needn't blame yourself. The fault lies with me for not speaking to you about it more 6 years ago. I hesitated because I didn't wish to confuse the matter, not knowing the full truth of it. But you were forced to grapple with many painful feelings as a result. Clearly, my priorities were not in order.
You had enough to deal with 6 years ago. So many knights were expelled from the castle, and almost none but Lord Rodrigue would set foot in the capital. Even my father prevented me from going to see you.
Yet, I still could have sought you out. And I had countless chances to discuss the matter at the academy.
I do not think I would have taken it well even if you had. I was convinced that Glenn died saving you from irredeemable villains. I forced myself to believe that. If I hadn't, I fear I may have gone mad.
I was in a similar position. But once I finally opened the lid on that box, I realized just how many were involved, including members of our own kingdom. In the end, I knew I had to reconcile with reality.
And I must also accept the reality that stands before me now. We are allied with the people of Dusker, which means I can no longer avoid them.
I have an idea. It may not help, but I'd like to take you somewhere. The father of that man I was speaking with earlier opened an inn last year, and it's not far. Would you care to join me there for a meal? Word has it he's quite skilled at making all manner of food. Of course, if this is all too much and too soon, I understand.
Not at all. I would love to accompany you. Though it shames me to admit it, I likely lack the courage to go alone. But with you at my side, I think I can take that first step.
In that case, let us make haste. Oh, and this will be my treat, so keep your pocketbook shut tight.
Ingrid, I have brought sustenance.
Oh, thank you, Dedu. These look wonderful. Your timing is impeccable. I was just about to wrap this up.
Writing reports?
Yes, I was summing up the results from our most recent battle in the Dusker region. It was a dreadful fight. It will be quite some time still before the situation in Dusker stabilizes. Obviously, I'm glad those involved in the tragedy were captured in the end, but...
But like any other region, Dusker is home to all kinds of people. Some good, some bad.
Exactly. The kingdom is no different. We may have our fair share of villains, but we should not be blaming innocent people for the actions of the bad ones.
It's human nature to generalize. I'd be lying if I claimed to hold no hatred towards Fargus for the devastation it brought to my home. But I've come to meet many kinds of people as I've lived here with His Majesty. Some hurled stones and insults, not only at me, but at His Majesty as well. Yet some remained kind to me, despite my heritage.
I guess I never really had to think about it like that. Honestly, Dedu, if not for you, I would have gone on stubbornly hating and fearing everyone from Dusker. No matter how much His Majesty insisted on their innocence.
But you did meet me. and now you have taken the first step toward change. It may not be my place, but I find that willingness to change admirable.
I am wholly undeserving of such praise. I still have a long way to go. But enough of this. After I am finished here, maybe we could grab a bite together in town.
Sure.
The other day, His Majesty introduced me to an inn that serves the most excellent food. It is actually owned by someone from Dusker. I was amazed how much I enjoyed everything. I would love to take you there.
Ingrid,
Yes? I am sorry, are you not interested? Or do you have other plans?
nothing like that. You said His Majesty brought you there.
Well, yes. He seemed quite familiar with the owner.
I see. Call for me when you're ready. Right now, I must find His Majesty and remind him not to be so cavalier in his movements, even with you at his side.
Oh dear. Perhaps I should not have mentioned that part. My apologies, Felix. Am I getting in the way of your work?
No, I just finished up. What do you need?
I picked this up on the training grounds. I think it might be yours.
Hey, that's my brother's spur. I thought I'd lost it.
I ran around asking all the knights who it belonged to. The royal crest made it seem important. You really should take better care of it. Didn't Glenn receive this as a gift from the late king?
Yup.
Don't shrug me off like that. I am surprised. You never struck me as the type to keep such a memento with you.
Guess I thought it might come in handy someday.
Whatever you say. Just make sure you don't misplace it again.
Ingrid. Wait,
Yes?
you should have it.
Excuse me? Absolutely not. I could never accept something so precious.
When my brother was appointed by the king, who do you think he told first? It wasn't me or my father. It was you. So take it.
But
If you want the truth, I always planned to give it to you anyway. I just never found the right time.
well, if you insist, then I accept. Thank you, Felix.
But don't get the wrong idea. I'm not doing this so you can go drown yourself in grief.
Oh, I am very much aware. I know full well how much you detest such displays of sentimentality. I should get going. I have a meeting to attend. Farewell, Felix.
Finished giving your report?
Yes. I hope you were not waiting too long. Did you need me for something?
Need is a strong word. I just wanted to commend you. I heard that last fight was brutal, but you made it out alive.
None of us expected it to evolve into such an arduous battle. We were only supposed to be dealing with some bandits.
So you weren't injured?
I'm fine. So is everyone else in the unit, thankfully. Though even in the darkest moments, I never lost hope. All thanks to this.
My brother's spur? You're telling me that hunk of steel helped you?
Perhaps not in a practical sense, but it certainly bolstered my spirits. This spur symbolizes Glenn's pride and sense of duty, things he fought for to his dying breath. I couldn't very well give up while I carried something with that much meaning. It gave me the courage to keep fighting.
I don't get it. It's all well and good to remember the dead, but sentimentality will get you killed. All the tears in the world couldn't bring them back after all.
You have always viewed the world in such stark terms. It might even be one of your strengths. But one day, you will learn that emotions and sentimentality are also a strength, not a curse.
So the dead can help the living? Interesting idea.
Can we continue this later? I think I have earned a good night's sleep.
Ingrid, wait. Will you do something for me?
I'm listening.
Go visit my brother. This war shows no signs of stopping, which means you have plenty of battles ahead of you. And if you're so certain the dead can help the living, it couldn't hurt to offer him some flowers.
You want me to go to Glenn's? I mean, of course. But you should join me, and perhaps His Majesty as well. And even Lord Rodrigue, Sylvain, Sir Gustav, everyone.
Are you planning to host an entire banquet at his gravestone?
That was not my original intention, but now that you mention it, a festive meal might be nice. We could all use a little relaxation, and Glenn always preferred a joyous atmosphere to a somber one.
Fine, just don't die before then, okay? Anyway, I'm keeping you. Go get something to eat and get some rest.
I will do just that. Thank you, Felix.
What's wrong, Ingrid? You look troubled.
Oh no, it is nothing. Don't worry about it.
It has to be something if you're just standing there staring off into space. You can always talk to me, you know. I might not be much help, but...
It's this land. It is so fertile. I cannot help but be amazed.
It is an unusually bountiful region for Fargus, and a beautiful one at that. It doesn't have nearly as much snow as the north, and multiple rivers flow through it. I could scarce take my eyes off of that wheat field we passed earlier.
My home does not have anything as lovely as that. It's nothing but a barren, rocky wasteland, and the soil we do have is so poor even the weeds disdain it. We have tilled the ground, removed rocks, and sowed seeds in hopes that our descendants might one day benefit, but... well, who knows how long it would take for us to have large, fruitful fields like the ones here.
Our blood, sweat, and tears will drench the land, serving as nourishment for those who come long after. You may not accomplish it in your lifetime, but the effort will definitely pay off down the road. Or, that's what I think, at least.
Those are the words of King Lugh, yes? From Lugh and the Maiden of Wind. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, hearing you talk about your homeland actually reminded me of another part. At one point, it uses the phrase, barren as the land of Dagda. I'm sure it's just some term the poets created long after Lugh, but it got me curious. So I went and tracked down a travel journal about Dagda.
I haven't read many travel journals. What did it say?
It spoke of a crop that grew easily, even in their infertile soil. Apparently, it's really filling and tastes amazing when boiled or baked.
It sounds too good to be true. Like a crop out of a fairy tale.
If only I knew what it was called. Shamir might be able to tell you more about it.
My homeland would greatly benefit from cultivating a plant like that.
I can't say for certain if it'll actually grow there, but it's probably worth looking into. And if there's any way I can help, just say the word.
I am sure a royal knight has better things to do than worry about the problems of House Galatea.
This isn't about my station. I'm just a pal lending a hand. Besides, I grew up poor. I know what it's like to go hungry. No one should ever have to experience that.
Thank you, Ash. In that case, our first task is to look deeper into this miracle crop of yours. I wish we could wait until this war is over, but that would take too long. I want to learn all I can about it as soon as possible. Oh, this is so exciting.
Agreed. Now we just have to survive long enough to uncover its secrets.
That was quite the sigh. What's the matter, Sylvain?
Oh, nothing. Well, except there's a guy in my unit who keeps acting up, and I'm not sure what to do.
You don't say.
I don't think I like the face you're making.
Let me ask, just to be sure. Is this mysterious troublemaker in fact you?
Hey, I've changed. I swear I have. But no, it's not me. It's one of my knights. He keeps walking around breaking stuff and getting into fights, and I'm spending all my time apologizing for it.
So you finally understand how I felt. You know, I never thought this day would come. You really have changed, Sylvain. Perhaps this warrants a celebration.
Then you better bring your purse because I'm ordering 2 of everything. Seriously, Ingrid, you don't have to sound that impressed. With school suspended and the war raging, we've all had to adapt to changing circumstances. Felix and Dmitri both succeeded their fathers, and are now burning the candle at both ends, right? I can't go around causing trouble with unending scandals when I'm supposed to be the mature one of the bunch.
It is wonderful to see you turn a new leaf.
I told you to stop sounding so impressed. Ugh, I suppose I had this coming.
I am sorry, Sylvain. I was only teasing. Think of it as payback for everything you put me through. Still, not having to clean up after you has been a real weight lifted from my shoulders.
Yeah, I was a handful in my wild days, but looking back, I really appreciate everything you did for me.
In that case, you should make the change permanent so you never cause trouble for anyone again. Though, honestly, I do not really know what to do with myself now that I am not spending all my time apologizing for you. Frankly, I was convinced you were useless without me.
Sorry. Again.
Please, no. You gave me experience I'd never have gotten otherwise. If I were truly miserable, I would have abandoned you to the wolves long ago. Besides, it wasn't all bad. You were the one who finally coaxed me from my room after Glenn's death, remember?
Okay, I'm confused. Do you want me to go back to being a huge flirt, or...?
Don't be ridiculous.
Figured.
As you said, we have all had to adapt to changing circumstances, which means we cannot cling to the past forever. You and I are no exception. It is merely a touch sad to come to the realization.
What's the matter, Ingrid? You sound exhausted.
Oh, it is just that my father's work never ends. Writing battle reports, explaining our Pegasus maintenance costs. There's always something that needs doing. I'm impressed that you, Felix, and His Majesty managed to stay on top of it all.
Are you sure you're okay, Ingrid? It isn't like you to be so worried.
Perhaps I'm simply not suited for desk work. Ugh, I sound pathetic.
Well, that's my cue to pitch in and help out by treating a lovely lady to a fine meal.
I thought you'd sworn off such flirtatious nonsense.
Can't you just accept a generous offer for once instead of immediately disparaging the giver?
Maybe you're right. In that case, I accept. I reached a good stopping point anyway, so I may as well eat on your coin. Phew. It has been some time since I've eaten this much. I've been so busy lately, my meals have consisted of whatever quick snack I can scrounge up in the moment.
Well, that makes the incredibly hefty bill worth it. Also, it's been a while since I've been able to watch you eat. I think I kind of missed it.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Sorry, that came out all wrong. What I meant to say was that it's a relief to finally see you enjoy a decent meal. I mean, we're basically family, you know? And I'm sure Felix and Dimitri would feel the same way.
Is that so?
When we were talking earlier, you said something about how a person can't cling to the past forever. Well, I think that's why it makes us so happy when we realize some things never change.
Some things never change, huh? Hold on. That means you were still gawking at me as I ate.
Yeah, but can you blame me? You are a fascinating eater. I mean, you're normally really serious, but when you eat, it's like your entire face lights up.
Do you even hear yourself? Yes, well, speaking of things that never change, I thought of an even more important one.
What's that?
Our friendship. The way we're there for each other through thick and thin. Even if our relationship changes, we will always hold each other dear.
Okay, that line is way too cheesy. Who taught you to say that? What rogues have you been hanging out with?
Stop complaining and come with me. I want to buy some treats for everyone.
I'd follow you to the ends of the earth, my lady.
Goodness, but that is heavy.
Could you grab the feet over there, Mercedes?
Yes, of course. Give me one moment, please.
Please, don't push yourself if you're tired. I can do it.
Well, we managed to finish. I'm so sorry for leaving the bulk of the work to you.
Do not worry about it. You are always helping me with so many other things. Besides which, I am used to taking care of horses. It barely even feels like work anymore.
I suppose House Galatea is famous for its Pegasus nights.
Yes, though they are costly to care for, so we don't keep many. When I was a child, I often help my older brothers tend to both our Pegasi and our horses.
I forgot that you have brothers.
Yes, my eldest brother acts as our father's advisor, while the other serves a different family as a knight.
You must have been very close. It's wonderful.
I suppose, though we hardly ever played together, the age gap was just too great. My eldest brother in particular was incredibly strict with me. Whenever I would try to go horseback riding through the hills, he would say, "How dare you do something so dangerous? What if something happened to you?" What's worse, my father agreed with him. It kept me from getting out on too many adventures as a child. Thinking back on it, I understand their concern. I was the only one in the family to bear a crest, after all.
I'm not so certain your crest was the reason for their concern. I think they were worried simply because they love you. You're the youngest, yes? It's only natural for them to want to keep you safe.
Well, it is true we had a mostly good relationship, but I don't know if I'd go that far.
I'm not so sure. They would have treasured you all the same, even if you didn't bear a crest. Even now, I can't help but want to fuss over my little brother, so I know what it means to be an older sibling.
I hear you, but I still don't see the need to be quite so overprotective.
You protest, but I can tell you enjoyed their show of affection. In fact...
Mercedes? What are you doing?
I'm ruffling your hair, since your brothers aren't around to do it.
That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Come, we should get back to work.
Whatever you say.
If you fall, pick yourself back up. An enemy won't wait for you to regain your footing.
Yes, Lady Ingrid.
We've been at this for a while now. Let's take a break.
Hello, all. You seem to be doing fine work with your training today. I brought snacks, so please eat up and restore your energy.
Thank you, Lady Mercedes. I'll go tell the others at once.
That would be wonderful. Oh, and I baked plenty, so there's no need to rush. Dig in, Ingrid. We must remember to treat ourselves once in a while, after all.
Thank you. Oh, these are delicious! Of course, I should have expected no less from you. I have been struggling every day for a way to show these girls my appreciation, yet have come up with nothing. But then you waltz in here and pull it off in one fell swoop. Just look how happy you've made them.
You give me too much credit. Children love anyone who brings them sweets.
Still, they are nothing more than bundles of nerves around me. I'm sure they'd feel at ease if only I was as kind and considerate as you.
Oh, I think you're much more important to them than I. All I do is bring snacks on occasion. You take the time to train them every day without fail. I know the only reason you're so strict is so they're ready for what awaits them on the battlefield. Your lessons are their own form of kindness. I'm certain they recognize that.
You have more confidence than I do.
Then let me ask you a question. Do you hate your older brothers?
What? No, how could I? I mean, naturally, there were times where I resented how hard they were on me, but it was never hate. They were simply looking out for me. I'm proud to call them my brothers.
You see? There are many ways to be kind and considerate.
Huh. I think I understand what you're driving at now.
There's no need to force yourself to be someone you're not. Just be yourself. You're already one of the kindest people I know.
But I'm terrible at encouraging people the way you do.
I don't think that's true. But if it really concerns you, you could try acting more like me.
Say, that's actually not a bad idea. In that case, let me dish out the same treatment you gave me the other day. Prepare yourself, Mercedes. It's time for me to show my affection.
Goodness, where could this possibly be going?
It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine here. Just gonna grab it and run right back out.
Good evening, Annette. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
Oh, Ingrid. It's just you. Sorry about that. Guess I'm a little jumpy right now.
Don't worry, it's fine. But if I may, what are you doing out here so late at night?
I forgot my book in the mess hall and came back to grab it.
What a coincidence. I was also headed to the mess hall to look for something.
Oh, yay! Then we can go together. Seriously, I'd feel so much better if you were with me.
Not entirely sure why that's the case, but okay.
Oh gosh, it's so dark. Ah! What was that? I think it came from the grass over there.
Probably just another night owl. I wonder if it's... Annette, stop! You're going to run into that pile of...
Ow! Who put these crates here?
Crates. Oh, Annette.
Well, that was quite the ordeal, but we finally made it. Thanks, Ingrid.
I'm glad nobody got hurt, aside from you and those crates. But if I may, Annette, are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah, actually. I've been afraid of it my whole life. I give anything not to be, but I just can't seem to shake it. What about you, Ingrid? Aren't you scared? I mean, a ghost could pop out of anywhere and ghost you.
The dark does not really bother me, no. And as I have never seen a ghost, I'm not afraid of them.
But doesn't it scare you to think about it? I mean, just imagine some icky dead person rising from the earth and coming at you with big, chattery teeth.
Certainly, we had such stories back home in Galatea. My brothers loved to tell them when I was a child. But if they were true, we would not be able to walk to breakfast without bumping into a horde of the dead.
Huh. Yeah, I suppose that's true. But it's still hard to get the idea out of my head.
I personally think it would be wonderful if the dead became ghosts and we could see them again. But when people die, that's it. We can't see or speak to them ever again.
Yeah, when someone dies, they're gone forever. But that's all the more reason to treasure what little time we get, right?
Agreed. We have only one life to live after all.
In that case, I'm gonna walk back all by myself.
Are you sure? We went through quite the struggle just to make it here.
If I want to conquer my fears, I'd better do it while I'm alive. The dark is still pretty terrifying, but I'm gonna push through it.
I could learn a thing or two from her optimism. We only live once. I have exhausted most of the Pegasus Corps, so how should I advance the mounted units on the ground?
A tricky proposition indeed. The enemy general won't be foolish enough to miss a chance to seize the advantage here.
If we are going to face the enemy with our remaining troops, it would be best to have the mounted units take up formation in the narrow pass to the east. Then, the remaining Pegasus Knights can attack from the cliffs above and end this quickly. Still, my scouts claim there may be archers stationed on those cliff tops.
Naturally. Everyone knows to expect Pegasus Knights as soon as they see the standard of Galatea. The enemy will doubtless be ready for this.
Yes, it is quite the predicament. I cannot help but wonder what my father or brothers would do. As someone who commands an army of Galatea, withdrawal is not an option.
I don't think you need to rack your brain over this too hard, Ingrid.
But if we fight without any sort of strategy, we will suffer major casualties.
Which might prove to be in your favor. If the enemy sees your back to the wall, they may let their guard down and grow reckless. How many Pegasus Knights stand ready?
Nearly half. Perhaps more if their wounds can heal in time.
Then select the most skilled from among them and make for the cliff tops.
And fly into the jaws of their trap?
While using the speed of the Pegasi to minimize injury, make it look like you're taking a desperate retreat. Then withdraw your troops. If the enemy thinks they've subdued the famed Pegasus Knights of Galatea, they'll deploy troops from their main fortress, leaving it lightly guarded. Once they do, send a separate unit of your remaining Pegasus Knights to capture it.
Yes, that just might work. You are amazing, Lord Rodrigue. I suppose this comes from your wide range of experience.
Actually, it's a strategy suggested by your brother once upon a time.
My brother? Oh, that's right. I believe he served in Srang while he was still a squire.
Despite his low rank, he astonished us all with his clever suggestions for deploying our flying units.
I have a long way to go if I wish to live up to him. I must prove more diligent about studying strategy.
Very ambitious. My son could stand to learn a thing or two from your example. But you ought not overextend yourself. Make certain to rest those wings every once in a while. I wouldn't be able to face the Count or your brothers if I allowed you to work yourself to exhaustion.
Resting my wings is a rather difficult proposition. I can't very well run about playing games as I did when I was a child. In any case, I thank you very much for the advice. I think I know how to proceed now.
The pleasure is mine, Ingrid. This is a most dangerous strategy, so let's endeavor to make sure we both come out of this alive. Ah, you're back. I heard you went to Fraldaria's territory?
Yes, I had a bit of business to take care of there. I forgot how long it had been.
What was it like to return?
It was always like a second home to me in a way. So being there brought memories flooding back. I found myself taking little detours everywhere, even though I knew I did not have time for such trifles.
And what impression did it give in its current state?
The region itself is quiet and peaceful. but lack of food has left the surrounding towns and villages in a precarious situation. It reminds me of when the people of Galatea territory fought over provisions during famine. If things keep on as they are, there could easily be an uprising.
Perhaps we should ask the refugees to cultivate the land. But that isn't my decision to make. Thank you, Ingrid. I will let Felix know your thoughts on the matter.
I would appreciate that. Oh, and it's not as if everything has changed for the worse. There were new shops around, and all of the roads were well maintained. It's surprising to see how much has changed over the years.
That's right. You used to visit multiple times a year, when Glenn was still alive.
I did. Yes. Though I might never have visited again if I had not been presented with this opportunity. I am glad I decided to take it. Once this war is over, would you mind if I came to visit Fraldarius land as I once did?
Not in the slightest. You can visit any time you like. I'm sure that Felix and the rest of my family would welcome you with open arms. We certainly owe you that much, considering all you've put up with from my sons.
Not at all. If anything, they put up with me. My brothers are both so much older than me, so Glenn and Felix were among my few friends growing up. Thinking back on it, I feel like I was always ordering Glenn around.
Well, if the time you two spent together helped you in even the smallest way, I am satisfied. And I know Glenn would be overjoyed.
Those days are irreplaceable to me. They will live in my heart forever.
Spoken like a true daughter of Count Galatea. You've grown strong, Ingrid.
Thank you for saying so. Still, I want to keep moving forward as best I can.
Yet it's good to acknowledge one's limits. People are allowed to show weakness, you know. Oh, look at me, talking your ear off while you're still covered with dust from the road. My apologies.
No, I am grateful for the concern. Thank you.
There's no need for thanks. After all, you're like a daughter to me.
Oh dear, she left some of her feet again today. She might even be sick. But what do I do if she is?
You should give her hay instead of feed.
Oh, Marianne, I didn't notice you there. Wait, what's wrong with feed?
Oats aren't enough. For a horse, I mean. Not enough nutritional value.
I suppose I have been giving her a good amount of oats recently. Is that really what's making her unwell?
Yes. Probably.
In that case, I'll find some hay for her right away. Thanks for the advice. You sure know a lot.
Oh, no, not at all.
There's no need to be humble when you clearly know so much. Speaking of which, would you mind if I asked you some other questions?
No, I should have minded my own. Please excuse me.
Hey, wait! There's so much I want to ask! What do I do? I only brought her on the battlefield once. Now she refuses to take even a single step.
I think, she's scared.
What? Really?
I can try to calm her down, but I don't know. Easy, girl. Easy. I know that was scary, but you're safe now. Shh.
Amazing! She's walking again!
She said she hates the stench of blood on the battlefield. And that's why she didn't want to move.
Oh, well that makes sense. Wait, did you just talk to my horse?
Yes, well, I mean, sort of. I just kind of understand.
That's incredible! How do you do that? And can you teach me?
It's really just, I sort of imagine what they're thinking based on little movements, or... I'm sorry. I'm not helpful. I should go.
Not helpful? This is the second time you've helped me and her both. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself, Marianne. Have a little confidence in your abilities.
Please excuse me.
Wait, I didn't even get to thank you. She's been flicking her tail a lot today. Does that mean she's happy?
No, she's just brushing off flies.
Oh, that makes sense. Also, I was thinking she was in a bad mood because she kept stomping her hoof.
That means she wants more hay, and higher quality feed if possible.
Where's this coming from, huh? You keep eating like this, you'll only have more weight to carry around. I've really been trying to figure out what she's thinking based on her behavior, but it's so hard. I'm impressed you manage it so easily.
Oh no, I'm not that impressive. What's wrong, Ingrid?
Marianne, perfect timing. My horse is refusing to move again, and I need to help an ally back on the battlefield. She doesn't seem scared like before, so I'm not sure what to do.
Okay, I'll talk to her. Shh. You're fine. You'll be all right.
Well, what did she say?
She doesn't want to take you to the battlefield because it's too dangerous. For you, I mean.
So that's what was troubling her. All right, I'll take it from here. There, girl. It's all right. Even if we're heading into danger, I'll be fine so long as I'm with you. Now lift your head and walk. One of our friends is waiting for us. Aw, thanks. I'm counting on you.
Thank goodness you got through.
I have been doing my best to learn how to connect with her, and it's clearly paying off. Though I'd never have understood her feelings without your insight.
But I didn't do anything. More importantly, you should hurry and help your friend.
I will. See you later.
Wait, Ingrid, I hope you come back safely. And then, when you do, maybe we can,
Oh, you want to go horseback riding together sometime? Of course. I'd love to have Dorte join us.
Oh, yes, actually. But how did you know?
When you spend enough time with a person, you start to pick up on what they're thinking through facial expressions and mannerisms. It's especially true of close friends. So I guess all my practice helped us as well.
Oh, Ingrid. I really admire how hard you work at everything you do. I hope you return safely. Dorte and I will be waiting for you.
We'll come back safe, Marianne. I promise.